What show can go from Alabama to Peru to Seattle, based in Atlanta? This one. And this is where we go and check in with our buddy Nico Moreno and Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart and find out what's going on in Major League Soccer on a Thursday as he's dialed up the studio space. He's dropping the Palouse lid. He's got the flag in the background. He's ready to go. As always, my friend. He's got the matching mug. He's got the mug to go with the lid. He's really promoting Washington State athletics and what's left of the Tupac. How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, John? Excited to be on as always. We had a good night of soccer. We had Nashville getting their first title. We got LA Galaxy kind of surprising me by not getting, completely just played out of the park against Toluca. And of course, we got MLS. There's a little bit of everything, John.
No doubt. All right, so let's talk about Open Cup. We played the decisive moment in the second half. And we've all been kind of talking about it here this morning in hour number one. I thought that Palacios went down a little too quickly, and he looked like one of the trees in the forest that you might see on the way out to Washington State, and you're going out to the WSU campus out there in the Palouse. If a Palacios falls on the pitch, does anybody see it? Does anybody hear it? Apparently, yes. And a lot of us have thought that call was on the soft side, and the TV folks in their analysis were like, I don't know if you make that call this late in an Open Cup. Yeah, I get it. You've really got to, I get it. That's harsh. But if that's been part of your MO the entire time, it fits with your personality. It's that late in the game, it's drawn, and it's a title on the line. You can justify it, but I thought it was harsh.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little harsh, but at the same time, don't give the ref a reason. Don't wrap your arms around the guy. I mean, it's defending 101, especially in that moment in time, right? I mean, you had battled back into this game. I thought that Austin had moments in this one where they were pretty good. I mean, I'm not a big Nico Esteves type of guy. I don't think his tactics and his approach to the game is very exciting, and he's simplified a lot of what Austin has done, and I think that's worked to a certain extent. I think that they depend a lot on what Usuni does, and he shows up at least for one goal in this one. But I just thought that Nashville was always going to have the cards to win the game. You know what I'm saying? Even if they had less shots, even if they had less possession, even if there were moments in this game that they absorbed a lot of pressure. When you look at Mukhtar, you look at Sam, Surge, and you look at a midfield that does a good job at defending and making easy link up play. I just always felt like Nashville was going to get it. And look, that first goal with the little chest setup for Mukhtar, I mean, that's a thing of beauty, right? So I think that Nashville just had more game winners at the end of the day. And that's going to be the story with Austin. And Owen Wolf's played excellent, and Bukhari has started to really come on. And Elias Sanchez and Pereira have finally developed a full rapport. But at the end of the day, it just felt like Nashville, regardless of not having a very good game, there were easy turnovers. I thought that Austin could have gotten ahead in this one by at least a couple of goals. But good goalkeeping, decent defending from Nashville, not great, but decent, specifically on set pieces. But at the end of the day, I think we get a rightful winner, and the very first title for Tennessee. Is that what I heard in the broadcast? The very first major trophy for Tennessee. That's wild.
First one in pro sports goes to Nashville SC, and obviously it speaks a lot to what BJ Callahan has been able to do there at Nashville in taking that roster and converting it from what they were used to with Gary Smith, which was defensive a little first and then leading itself into offensive elements, where it's now BJ Callahan's team. And I think this solidifies that this is BJ Callahan's team, and his philosophy has taken hold there in Nashville.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he built it from the back up, right? I mean, I thought he did a great job of bringing Andy Nahar. I think that he is probably one of the pillars of the success of this team under BJ Callahan. I thought that Palacios has been excellent. I mean, going down soft or not, I mean, that's a savvy move. But I think what he's done defensively, specifically, really solidifying that back there, has been excellent. I think Lovett's a guy that's one of the originals. Being out there was pretty interesting, right?
Mm.
But to your point, I think BJ Callahan is a coach that wanted to change the outlook of Nashville soccer, and I think he's done that. And you saw the fans really react to it. And to me, the coaching job goes not just into the system and what he's done collectively, but rescuing a little bit of Mukhtar. It felt like he had really dimmed down over the last couple of years. It felt like you didn't really know if he could have that MVP type of moments, and he's had those this season. I think that's all BJ Callahan understanding how to play Sam Surridge and Mukhtar, and how to get the best out of both of those guys. I mean, this guy's going to be possibly the golden boot in MLS, right? Some Surge is up there, and that is crazy to think and say about a Nashville team that we were used to saying they're hard to play, they're going to make it difficult, but they're not going to be very fun, not very offensive.
Yeah, and they were easy to peg late in the Gary Smith tenure. If you cut off the supply lines to Hani Mukhtar, they were easy to defend against, but you can't do that now. And Callahan has unlocked Sam Surridge, and it's now Surridge and Mukhtar, and then you get to try and figure out who that third one is going to be on any given day. Because if you try to pin your defense to those two, then that means that there's a third dude that can be open, and you get to see the benefits of that. Uh, before we get into a developing story, considering it is older than 5 minutes old as it broke, Can Champ goes to Vancouver and Campeones goes to LAG. What about those two late last night?
I did not see the Canadian championship, but I did see the Campeones Cup. That one was interesting. I thought it was going to be a thrashing, honestly. I was surprised that LA Galaxy sat there and exchanged in the middle of the ring in a way that I didn't really know if they still had it in them.
Yeah.
It was just almost heartbreaking to see Greg Vanny go from being so static and getting that goal to getting that equalizer and that last second goal. Man, I mean, there's just too many white jerseys in that specific area,
Mm-hmm.
inside the 18, inside the 6, for that ball to get there, and for it to just get pushed through. And I think in the Castro goal too is just lazy defending by the LA Galaxy. You can't just let the guy just roll the ball and be ready to go. And there's my alarm. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know what that was. It said dentist appointment for some reason. But no, you just can't allow a Toluca team that's as good as they are to just have this sort of opportunity. So it's the Galaxy in a nutshell. They've had so many opportunities to just win something, to just rescue the season, and it seems like no matter what, they just don't have enough talent. They don't have enough gamemanship. I like what Fagundes has done for the LA Galaxy. I really do like the passion. I like the creativity. You see him, really like kiss the badge and get this team rolling. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't going to be enough against Toluca and Vega and Castro and just a team that was very good. I mean, even Turco Mohamed got sent off, and he had to watch the game from upstairs. And even then, Toluca ended up being the better team. But like I said, I will give Vanny credit for getting these guys up for this game, for, exchanging with them. Pencil playing the 9, Peck gets a goal. There are some things that you hope to build off of for next season, but this has been a catastrophic season for Vanny and the LA Galaxy.
No doubt about it. And you got to figure out what you want to do in the off season from here. That's going to be one of the larger stories in uh, in all of Major League Soccer. What is LAG going to do? All right. Since it's no longer broken news, considering it happened 8 minutes ago, Let me go ahead and I'll go ahead and do this anyway. It's more like developing story. I don't know. I guess maybe 10 or 15 minutes after something breaks, it's a developing story. But anyway, we'll hit the sounder. All right. National team got named for the October window. Came out at the bottom of the hour. It is USA and Ecuador, October 10 at Q2. 4 days later, they go to Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Commerce City for the first time since 2017 for USA Australia. The 26 names that have been brought out: 4 keepers, Brady, Freeze, Schulte, and Turner; defenders, Arfston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Alex Freeman, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Anthony Robinson, and Miles Robinson. So you get both Robinsons, Jedi and Miles. Midfield, Brendan Aronson, Diego Luna, Weston McKinney, Aiden Morris coming over from Middlesbrough, Christian Roldan, James Sands, Tanner Tessman, Malik Tillman. Forwards, Patrick Ajimong comes back from Derby County, Valerian Balogun, Christian Pulisic, Tim Weah, Haji Wright, and Alex Zendejas. Pulisic leads all players on the roster with a total of 80 appearances. Tim Ream, 77. Weston McKinney, 60. Brendan Aronson, 52. Matt Turner, 52. And Jedi with 50. Rounding out the 50 club, Diego Luna has appeared in 13 of the USMNT's 14 matches in 2025, leading that class. Ajimong and Arfston have 12. Ream has 11. Richards has 10. And so a number of the U.S. players bring the goal-scoring momentum into this October camp. And you're bringing back some dudes. It's not just trying to figure out, okay, what about Johnny? What about Dest? What about Pepe? Tyler Adams is missing camp for personal reasons. So that's the 26 that they're bringing in. New face, James Sands, who started for St. Pauli 5 in a row in the Bundesliga. You look at this group in the October window, Christian Roldan a part of it.
Love that, man. I think that he's earned it. I thought that he earned it in his last call up and what he was able to do in the time he was given. I heard a lot of negatives on, him not being a good passer and just one too many turnovers. He had one bad one, but I thought that in general senses, his spacing, his quick delivery on the ball was very important for what the U.S. national team did in those 2 friendlies in transition, just not holding the ball, not overloading certain zones. I mean, he was a guy that I thought was very good in his time, and he deserves it. He's having a great season. Now, he's exhausted. I got to say that he's exhausted. He is by far the player with most minutes for the Sounders. He has done absolutely everything for the squad with a very difficult role where there's so much responsibility in being that main feature of pivots for Brian Smetzer and the Sounders. But I like it. Look, I look at this list, and the biggest thing for me is the goalkeeper. Is Matt Freese your guy? It kind of feels like it is, but there's always that desire to see other, guys go in. I thought Chris Brady it's a fun one. I think that he's been very good with Chicago. Obviously, he's one of your young guys that you could get, put into this bubble for the U.S. national team, which is very interesting. But what I do know is that the Euro snobs are going to be extremely upset with this list, and they're going to come at Pochettino with everything they have, because there's just one too many MLS guys that I love. Look, Diego Luna is a guy that he didn't have a great couple of showings with the U.S. national team as of late, but he's a guy that's always going to deliver in the effort, the passion, a guy that can be very creative and that can really give this team some interesting ideas. But obviously that midfield is extremely talented. But what I like about Pochettino in this list is that you're kind of getting away from this entitlement of certain players, and you're saying, look, there's competition. There's guys out there. I'm going to look at them, and I don't care where you're playing, what league. It's about the minutes you're playing, the responsibilities with your teams that you guys have, and coming in here in this camp and this friendlies and showing up. And look, Ecuador is a phenomenal parameter there, right? I mean, look, they were second in CONMEBOL. Not an easy thing. They're extremely athletic. They got a lot of talent. So, this is a team that could really get pushed Ecuador is a team that could really push the USMNT national team. But to me, the bigger question marks are on defense and at goal. Because other than Chris Richards, I don't know who I want next to him. I know it's not Tim Ream, and it's definitely not Miles Robinson, not to me. So you got to figure that part out and kind of go from there. But there's some interesting names, man. Patrick Ajimang is another one that I'm hoping he continues to develop, continues to grow, and get some opportunities there.
And we'll keep an eye on that. Bart Keeler from the Soccer for USPOD is going to talk about this roster, the U17 roster, and what we've seen at the U20s. He's going to bat leadoff for us tomorrow. All right, getting into the week that will be. There are a couple of matchups to talk about, but we talked about it a little bit yesterday with Dylan Butler when he came in. Red Bulls not in the playoffs for the first time in 15 years, and you wonder what the offseason is going to look like for them. Now you have Miami, Messi and friends. They took it in the chops, and you wonder where they are right now when it comes to the September of hell, having to make up all of the matchups that they had to do in league because they were doing other things and chasing after other trophies. So right now, Miami, match in hand. They are at 56 points. They can match Cincinnati. They'd still be a win less, but they'd still have goal difference. It was an interesting week in the midweek as Miami tries to come back online. You've got chaos in the Eastern Conference. You've got a couple of groups that are jammed together. When you look at the talking points coming into this weekend, San Diego, Vancouver are tied on points. Vancouver's got a match in hand. Minnesota is lurking. LAFC has 2 matches in hand. They could be at charge at the top of the table. Seattle match in hand, and they're fighting for the 5, so they don't drop to the 7 and try to figure out what's going on there because Austin and Portland are lurking. Colorado is at 40 points. They're the 8-9, but the 9 could be San Jose, Dallas, Salt Lake, or Houston. 4 teams trying to get in. You break this down. You make sense of this for me.
Look, for me, one of the biggest things that we got to see was the Inter Miami they did their bet. Now they got to lay in it, right? We talked about the things that they needed to do defensively. We talked about the lack of defending, the lack of bringing in guys to solidify that team. That in transition defense, they're a mess. And Chicago goes out there and puts a 5-piece on them, and you see Messi frustrated, and you see him trying to rally this team up. But at the end of the day, man, it's not about the offense because they were going there 2 by 2. It's the defense. You cannot be that vulnerable defensively and expect to get out of the playoffs. I'll tell you right now, they're not getting out of the East. They're not getting out of the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they get bounced in the first round.
Wow.
Just like they did against Atlanta, man. I mean, this is a team that is just so weak when it comes to just that defensive presence, and you need that in the playoffs, right? So it's just not enough. You're not getting enough from Luis Suarez, who, yes, he had a good game, but can you trust him in the playoffs to just put this team on his back? I don't. Agenda extremely inconsistent. At times he looks great. At times he just misses sitters. I mean, there's just so many question marks aside from Messi, right? Messi, you know what you're going to get. You know what he's going to do. But aside from that, man, it's this thing with too many question marks. When it comes to the West and those teams coming in, I like San Jose, man. I like San Jose. I like what they did against San Diego. No fear. Go at them. This Bruce Arena team is it makes me laugh every time that I watch this team. I forget that is Bruce on the bench because it doesn't feel like a Bruce Arena team. But as much as they are also a team that concedes a lot of goals, I think that they could really make a push there to just get into the playoffs. Seattle, they need to figure things out. They need to get some wins. There's some injuries. This week, we were told that Yemer Gomez Andrade is out 4 weeks, meaning that he's going to be out for the remainder of the regular season. He might be able to come back. He will be able to come back for the playoffs, of course, but that's a big loss. Alex Roldan, he had a little thing in his hip. He was training. Brian said he could be available against the Timbers. This is a big game, and obviously I'm going beyond the fact that this is the derby, the Clásico. This is the game that you die for. but without certain pieces,
Hmm.
oh man, it looks tough. I think that Seattle's going to have to outscore the Timbers. The Timbers are going to get theirs, in my opinion. They're going to be able to get theirs here at Lumen Field. So Seattle's going to have to outscore him. So you put the pressure on Jordan Morris, who looks good. Looks good. The shoulder. He says he has no issues. We talked to him. He's excited for this game. This is a big game, of course, for this team. I think Jesus Ferreira is another guy that's going to have to show up against the Timbers, and Pedro de la Vega. We need to see Pedro de la Vega. I don't care if it's 30, if it's 60, if it's 90, if it's 122. You need to get this guy on the field. For Seattle to have success moving forward, HDH family, John, Pedro needs to be involved.
Hmm.
He's your X factor. He's the guy that's gonna make a difference and that puts this team from a good team to an elite team. He does that for you. And you need him on the field. Now, of course, it's next man up mentality, but when it comes to the playoffs, you got to get him in. It's been 4 games that he's been inactive. We talked to Brian. He said that just the games haven't developed to be able to put him in. But look, love Brian. I think we've kind of bonded a little bit more. We're not at each other's throats so much. But I'm not a fan of the 4-4-2. And in the last game against Vancouver, he opted to bring Osata de Rosario instead of bringing in Pedro. I do not like that. I think that the most talented, most influential players for this Sounders teams, they're all in the wing and in the midfield. And if you got to push Albert back a line to play the pivot right next to Christian Roldan to add Osase, I mean, do you really want your top leader contributor in goals that far away from goal? I know I don't. And I get it. That is dynamic and you push and you move and you're going to be able to get him forward. But I just don't see it. Right. So we'll see how that all works out. But Pedro de la Vega, just to conclude, has to be involved. And the Sounders have a huge game against the Timbers. They can get passed over in the standings, but it's beyond that. John, it's not about the standings. It's about getting this team trending in the right direction right before primetime, baby. Right before the playoffs. You got to get them going. Playoffs? You talking playoffs, baby. So you got to get this team right.
Wow, I got to get that drop now. So Seattle is a minus 172. We'll start cliffhanger here. Draws a plus 329. Portland is basically a plus 400. But you wanted to go, since you were mentioning goals and that there were going to be a lot of them scored, over under 3.5 at a plus 122, 4.5 is a plus 273.
Ooh. I like the 3.5, baby. That's a safe bet. I like that 3.5 for sure. I'd rather go with the goals on that one, to be quite frank, than just picking a team. That 3.5, but I think there will be goals. There's going to be a ton of goals in that one. So yeah, give me the 3.5, no problem.
That's what I figured. That's why I went straight to that one. I just mentioned the numbers for the sake of mentioning the numbers, and that's why I immediately went to the number there. Red Bulls in Cincinnati. Red Bulls have a chance to sit there and put some sugar in the gas tank of FC Cincinnati at a plus 121. Favored at home. FC Cincinnati a plus 193 on the road. And the draw in the Swamps of Jersey is a plus 268.
I like the draw. Look, you talked about New York not making the playoffs, and it's crazy to me because there was a point in the season where I looked at New York City FC and I looked at the Red Bulls roster, and I like the Red Bulls roster more with Choupo-Moting and Forsberg and a team that at times looked really, really good, but it felt like they needed one more piece, and they just did not bring it. They needed at least one more player to get this team on the attacking end to compete in the East, because it's tough in the East, and I get that. But the New York Red Bulls, I felt like they have a really good core group, but they just got one piece away, and it was never enough. But against Cincinnati is another team that, for all the talent they have, I feel like they should be playing a lot better. They depend so much on Evander. It's crazy. I mean, you look at the underlying numbers, you look at a team that even with bringing in a new attacker at times, just look out of sorts. Orejano at times, I feel like he's plateaued. There was a point where he was really just on this mark of just being this incredibly influential attacker from the defensive part of the field, and the way he pushed. and now he's kind of plateaued. So Cincinnati, I think, is one that I would go for a draw in this one, because I feel like those are two teams that are still trying to figure things out. Obviously, Red Bulls are out, but they're going to want to be prideful and just show up. I like that draw.
Purple team hosting Crew at a -102. Draws a +283. Crew is a +234 on the road. They are separated by 2 points in the table. Columbus is at the 9 at 50. Orlando is at the 7 at 52.
I'm not touching that one. I'm not touching that one at all. It's just not good enough. I think Orlando's going to win, to be quite frank, but I'm not touching it. That could go so many ways for you. I wouldn't even bet on the goals, because you don't know what you're getting at times with this Columbus Crew team. And it's crazy to think and say that we don't know what we're getting out of this Columbus Crew team that, against Chicago, they looked out of sorts. When was the last time you could think of a Wilfred Nancy team that looked out of sorts? I can't remember it. And Orlando, as much as they're a team that with Ojeda and a team that to me is as offensive as a Oscar Pereja team can look.
Yeah.
At times, when they don't have possession and they don't find their game early, they can struggle a little bit. So that's why I'm not touching that one. I feel like this one, it feels like Orlando's going to win it, and they should win it. They almost have the responsibility to win it, but I'm not touching it. This is not good enough for me.
All right, RSL and Colorado. RSL favored at a -141. Draws a +303. Colorado a +333. On the road, Colorado at the 8 at 40 points. RSL at the 11 at 37. Match in hand. What about that one?
Give me Colorado, and I like that. I like those. I like that. That number is good. I mean, it almost feels like a trap, but I like it. That Colorado is a team, to me, that offensively, when things click, they click big, and they could put 3 on you. They could put 4 on you. Like what Harris is doing. I think Aronson has been surprising. And he's been a good fit for this Colorado team, right? You kind of thought that when Mihailovic left, they were going to not really be able to get over that hump. And I think that Arison's done a good job of just keeping it up. Like Navarro, I think that defensively they have some fixing to do. Reggie Cannon has been a guy that has been underwhelming for me. But at the same time, I feel like they have enough talent to go ahead and get this game. So I like it on the road. I like the points on it. So yeah, give me Colorado.
And then early one on Sunday, Vancouver hosting San Jose. I had included this one because of your Bruce Arena discussion. Vancouver -169 coming off the can champ. They're at home. San Jose is almost a +400 going to BC Place. Vancouver and San Jose, your total 2.5 a -233, 3.5 a -102, 4.5 a +231. So it flips high 3. Your 4 is a +167. You gonna just watch that one and not touch it?
No, man. You know what? I'm gonna take the 4.5. Now it could go all sorts of ways there, but I like that 4.5. Look, I saw this Vancouver team. I've been following it very closely, and they're very interesting. I think Jasper Sorensen's done a great job at really building this team up and coming up for games like this ones, even with the midweek game. In San Jose, obviously, we just talked about them and their ability to score, but also concede. I like this with the 4.5. Yeah, give it to me.
All right, what's going on, Sounded Heart and Pulso Sports? And I know that there's going to be a trip to the Providence and Swedish 5-minute oil change and secondhand thrift store. What's going on?
Look, there's been a lot going on there in the training facility. Obviously, a lot of guys that we're following because of the injuries. I like the vibe in the Providence and Swedish Bouncy Park. So we have a lot going on there at Pulso Sports. We got Jesus Ferreira talked, Jordan Morris talked, Brian Smetzer talked. Obviously, this is the week of the Derby, so we're going to be getting a lot more of these interviews. You got to watch the Paul Rothrock one. Check it out at Pulso Sports. Paul Rothrock is just great when it comes to sound bites, right? I mean, he just embodies those interviews. He's going to be a guy that's going to be interested against Portland. We're not going to have Monday kickoff with Lobbin Scorchers. Ari's out of town. We won't be available. So I got to do something. So whether it's Impulso Sports or with Sound Our Heart, we're going to have to make something happen because we cannot let Monday come by and not have something to say about that Derby game. So you expect that at Impulso Sports Under Our Heart. And of course, tomorrow, we will be doing what we learned this week with Jeremiah Oshan. Hopefully, we have a little bit more information on Yaimar's injury, Alex availability, and how this team is going to show up against Portland Timbers.
As always, my friend, great to see you on Thursdays and get the intel from the Pacific perspective when it comes to everything Major League Soccer. Be safe, be well, enjoy Washington State this weekend, enjoy the Sounders and the Derby. We'll catch up with you next week.
Have a good one, boss.